And the recent Saudi Arabia summit, like I said earlier, marked a milestone in Nigeria's Saudi Arabia's relationship. Of course, with the two nations sealing various investments and cooperation deals, particularly investment in Nigeria's oil refineries and financial support for government's foreign exchange reforms. And when the reestablishment, with the reestablishment of the Nigerian Saudi Business Council, initially proposed in 2019, now the door is now opened for Saudi Arabia to finance a number of industries, including technology, agriculture, telecommunications, energy, oil and gas, running into multi-million-dollar investment from Saudi Arabia. Well, to discuss this, I have the right person joining me from our Abuja studios. He is the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Saudi Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, Engineer Ibrahim Usman. We met in Riyadh, and it's good to have you on the program. Good afternoon, Alhaji. It's good to see you.
Good afternoon, Tolbe. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Yes, I want us to start this conversation understanding the kind of business relation Nigeria has had before now with Saudi Arabia. How cordial was it, considering the perception issue that the president highlighted during his speech to the Saudi Arabian investment community?
Well, the business relationship had been really very bad in the past. I say very bad because in terms of volume, one would have expected these two friendly, oil-rich countries to have been very active in having business relationships. But I can tell you over the years, over the several years, in fact, apart from the Hajj and Umrah, and where our women carry yams, spices, and so on, cola nuts to Saudi, there is nothing much except, of course, a little bit on the oil and gas sector. So I will say that historically the relationship in terms of commerce between Nigeria and Saudi had not been good because there was a huge trust deficit, so to say. It is not surprising, therefore, that our dear President Ahmed Bola Tinubu had to come out openly to talk to Saudis with respect to opportunities that are available from both sides. So I can tell you clearly that now you were there in Riyadh, you saw what happened, you saw the opportunities, you saw how many MOUs were signed by many African countries, and I think this is the beginning of better things to come in the relationship between Nigeria and Saudi Arabia in terms of business and economic relationship.
Interesting way. Yes, I saw it myself. I'm going to ask that with this kind of intervention by President Bola Tinubu, clearly stating that our country is open for business. He also said the buck stops on my table, that is going to address all of those challenges, perception issues that they faced before now. What, as a chamber, what is coming through your mind moving forward? What are your expectations moving forward?
Well, moving forward, we are extremely optimistic. The Saudis have traditionally been doing their businesses between countries through what they call the joint business councils. The Saudi-Nigeria Joint Business Council had been on the table, on the drawing board for a very, very long time. And it's only recently, in fact, it's only last week during this visit, that I signed the MOU for establishment of the Saudi-Nigeria Joint Business Council on behalf of Nigeria, and the chairman of the Federation of Saudi Chambers also signed on behalf of Saudi, and this is the beginning of better things to come. Now the Saudi business community will be feeling very, very comfortable. They are willing to talk with us. You were there, you had all the opportunities that were there, and we are happy that at least the cream of the business community in Saudi were there at the business roundtable. And the president, our president, spoke from his heart. If you recollect, he didn't read from any written speech, and he talked very beautifully in terms of opportunities, in terms of looking at issues of corruption, in terms of ensuring that once they make investments, they can be rest assured that wherever they want to take their investment, they will take their investment out. He had made that clear to them. And the areas of the areas of investment are very many. You remember, apart from agriculture, which is key to them, and because they have this program of Saudi food program, and we can come in very, very much there. But on the other hand, we have the challenge in our oil and gas. It is very unfortunate that despite the fact that we have 4 refineries in the country, none of them is working. While, of course, Saudi has all the opportunities and has all it takes to support us in terms of making sure that these refineries work. This is just one of the areas. And if you look at the other areas that are key to Saudi, like mining and mineral processing, Saudi has taken the issue of renewable energy very seriously. It has started producing lucid cars, these electric vehicles. Electric vehicles rely on batteries. And batteries, the main component of batteries is lithium. And we are lucky Nigeria has a lot of lithium all over the country. What we don't have, however, are the processing capacities. And I recollect in January this year, I was in Riyadh also, and we had a meeting with some Saudi investors who were willing to join us to establish Nigeria-Saudi lithium processing company, whereby we can now produce high-quality lithium, which we will sell not only to Saudi, but to other markets. And I think these are excellent opportunities. And going back to agriculture, all the problem that we've been having seriously with respect to the ranching, for example, the state governors have tried, but I can tell you, I think the bulk of the discussion has been basically based on politics. Political pronunciations are made, but in reality, nothing is on the ground. But the Saudis are willing. I've had discussions with them through SALIC, Saudi Agricultural Livestock Company is an organization which is funded by PIF, and they have huge amounts of money, and they will be willing. In fact, they have clearly stated that they are willing to set up ranches whereby we will have will reduce this incidence of our cows being taken down south, walking on foot, and by the time they reach the destination, there is no more meat there. So this is just an area they can create these ranches, and it will help reduce this conflict that has been happening between the farmers and the Fulani herdsmen. This is just one of the areas. And look at the area of infrastructure, for example. The biggest challenge today for us manufacturers in Nigeria is issue of energy, power. We don't have much power. But I can tell you the power in Riyadh alone is much more than what we have in the whole of Nigeria. And Saudi has so much that it can give us in terms of power. Some of their companies which are visited, they produce cables, they produce transformers, they produce substations. There's nothing that they don't produce in terms of power. In fact, I have it on record that 40% of the cables that were used in the fast train between Paris and London were made in Saudi. So there is so much that we could gain from each other. And I recollect Dangote made a comment which was also very important for us, is a symbiotic process. They invest in us, we also invest in them, because they are doing so much in real estate. And you can see what's happening in Abuja here. We have a crop of excellent real estate development companies now that can participate in what is happening in Saudi. Saudi is building new cities. Saudi is building new homes all over the place. And I can see that there is so much opportunity even for our own real estate companies in Nigeria. And touch any other area. If you look at the area of human capital development, there is nothing. In fact, I don't think there's any country that takes more doctors and nurses than Saudi from Nigeria. There is so much we can do with them there. And if you look at the humanitarian services also, humanitarian is extremely important. You know what has happened with respect to Boko Haram and ISWAP and all this. And There is so much that they can do because the King Salman Foundation is there, and there are things that we could get a lot from them. The issue is there had not been a platform. Now with the establishment of the Nigerian Saudi Chamber of Commerce, and now with the signing of the MOU between Nigeria and Saudi for the Saudi-Nigerian Business Council, I think the sky is the limit. Yes, I repeat, the sky is the limit, because the top businessmen from Saudi are part of this business council, and there will also be top businessmen from Nigeria. The Saudi people have informed us clearly that they've in fact put their team together, and I have been authoritatively informed by the Minister of Industry that in fact the Nigerian team will soon be in place also. Once the president maybe returns, it's not unlikely that he will make a pronunciation. It's not unlikely on the issue of the populating the joint business council from the Nigerian end. And this will be a platform that will create mutual trust between the Saudi businessmen and the Nigerian businessmen.
Well said. I think the chamber has a lot of work cut out looking at what you expect after this meeting. But let me ask you this question back to the issue of corruption, that perception. You know, the president tried to clear that away. So I want you to tell us what you think we should expect now that the president has assured them that all of that will be put behind bureaucracy. There was a man that stated his issue of a telecom company coming to invest, and he had some issues with some agencies of government. How seamless do you see this happening henceforth, since everybody seems to be on the same page?
I think going forward, there will be a big difference. I felt very bad when we had that gentleman complain about the corruption. Our president admitted, but he also said it clearly. He made it that there is no room again for corruption. And the platform, this is why the Joint Business Council is there. This is why the Nigerian Saudi Chamber of Commerce is there. Now the investors from both sides will pass through these chambers. And the chambers will be like the platform that will screen, that will make sure that the agreements, MOUs are signed, and the MOUs and agreements are followed to the letter. And businessmen from both ends are advised and given the right information in terms of what to do, in terms of the culture, the business culture, and how to in fact succeed in doing business in both sides. That trust deficit, which had been in existence for such a long time, will now be eradicated. And I'm glad that the president emphasized the issue of corruption, that there will not be any corruption. There will be no tolerance at all for any corruption. But most importantly, if you recollect, the team that was there included the NIPC, for example, the Export Promotion Commission. All these government agencies will be there to support and give a kind of one-stop shop for execution of any relationship, any MOUs that have been signed. But most importantly, from both sides, Saudi wants to diversify its exports. Saudi wants to ensure that it now has foreign exchange coming from other areas rather than oil. And it's the same thing with Nigeria. Nigeria, we have huge export-oriented product that we could send to Saudi that they're interested. Take the case of all the spices, the minerals, gold, and I had mentioned earlier, I talked of lithium, which is extremely important, but most importantly, agricultural produce. Agricultural produce, including fodder, they are ready to support us. And so from both sides, I think there is high expectation in terms of productivity, in terms of an extremely vibrant business relationship that will be mutually beneficial to both sides.
I like that. A win-win situation is what we should expect, and of course to play out in this kind of partnership. Now, I said it earlier that the chamber would definitely have a lot of work. Now, considering the issues around foreign exchange, which we know that many of these foreign investors want to see how they can repatriate funds, which is very important, and that is eating deep into our economy. Do you see this affecting some of these expectations, or you think that all will be sorted on as we move on?
Well, I think this is a major concern, I must confess. It's a major concern to all of them. They don't like how volatile our foreign exchange market is. They don't like the idea that, in fact, it takes a long time when they have to repatriate their funds. They go through so much difficulty. But these are issues that our president had made clear. And he has also made clear that he will ensure that remittances of investments are made easily. He has made clear that he will bring down the gap between the black market and the official market. We hope the reorganization of the central bank in terms of the foreign exchange utilization will be very effective. We now have a new team at the central bank, and I am very sure, I'm absolutely sure, one of the things that will be on their table right now is to ensure that this foreign exchange issue is tackled, not only from the point of view of reducing the gap between the black market and the official rate, but also from the point of view of getting the remittances. If people make investment, they want to get their money back, for God's sake. It's very important, and I can tell you the president had made that very clear. The president knows that one of the things that will militate against the success of the relationship between Nigeria and Saudi would be that issue, and he had made it clear. Bring your money in. Anytime you want your money out, we will allow you to take your money. This is what he said, and he spoke off-heartedly. So that was fantastic. They appreciated it, and we hope he will keep his promise. We hope also he will ensure that the central bank does the needful.
Finally, what will be your message to business people at this time? Well, let me say both from Nigeria and in Saudi Arabia, because now you are...
I think that's a very good question. Yes. Yes, this is very good. Well, the message is simple. Saudi is open for business. Things have changed. It is not what used to happen before. And for us in Nigeria, this is an opportunity to take advantage of the billions of dollars of investment that will come in. Believe it or not, within the next 7 years or so, Saudi had said they will bring in as much as $50 billion to Africa. And I can tell you from what we've heard so far, as much as maybe 20 billion will come to Nigeria. Already, for example, some of our institutions like the Export Promotion Commission, like the Exim Bank, they've signed MOUs, and this will help. Individual companies that have attended this forum, they've also signed a lot of MOUs. So this is the time for business between Nigeria and Saudi. So those of us from Nigerian end, you now have a chamber, Nigerian Saudi Chamber of Commerce. Come and register to be members. And once you're a member of the chamber, then you're automatically allowed also to enjoy all the facilities that will come through the Saudi Nigeria Business Council. The Saudi Nigeria Business Council is a government-to-government framework, but populated only by business people. There are no government officials on it. There are no civil servants on it, purely business people. And therefore, the sky is the limit for anybody who is a serious investor in real estate. And there's also room. For example, we've been told clearly by the Saudis that they want investors in real estate. Now they've said people can come and buy real estate. Even in Makkah and Medina, they can invest. Therefore, it's an opportunity for all of us. And it's something that I think is good news for both sides. Good news for both sides. For the Nigerians, please come and register with Nigerian Saudi Chamber of Commerce and take advantage of all the opportunities coming from Saudi. For the Saudis, well, you've had it. Now the trust deficit is it's been breached completely. So don't worry. You come here, you will enjoy all the facilities and you'll enjoy the support of the government. you'll enjoy the support of the government. And at this stage, I must also let our state governments know that the Saudis feel much more comfortable if businesses have at least a small percentage of government involved. They feel more secure. Therefore, our state governors should please be ready to take shares in some of the projects that are coming up. And there are many projects. We've mentioned earlier the lithium processing, agriculture, ranching, food processing, real estate, energy. For example, now the state governments are all allowed. You are all allowed now to have your own power generation companies. And there's no better place for you to go than Saudi to have partners there. Same thing with infrastructure, roads and bridges. Some of us who have gone to see what they have on the ground there, you've seen how beautiful their infrastructure is in terms of roads and bridges, tunnels and so on. These are opportunities now for us to all come together and do PPP or whatever kind of relationship we want to develop and move our country forward.
Interesting stuff there. I must thank you so much, President and Chief Executive Officer of Saudi Chamber of Commerce, Nigeria Saudi Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, Engineer Ibrahim Usman. Thank you so much for starting the week with us on Business Nigeria. We appreciate this. Have a great day.
Thank you, Tolbe. Thank you very much. Thank you. We are grateful.